I was there for you. I just want you to know. Need you, baby. I promise I was there for you. I just want you to know. Need you, baby. I promise I was there for you. I just want you to know. Need you, baby.
Through the toughest of times, you stood by my side. Footsteps in the sand, there was another sentence tried with mine. I was too much of a sinner to see. I'm glad you never left me by myself in the sea of hate. No debate, the world's full of disgrace. I'm phased. Hope you keep me pure with your grace, no doubt. Don't forget to put my hands together. I ask you grant me love and protect me forever. Through the toughest of times, you stood by my side. Footsteps in the sand, there was another sentence tried with mine. I was too much of a sinner to see. I'm glad you never left me by myself in the sea of hate. No debate, the world's full of disgrace. I'm phased. Hope you keep me pure with your grace, no doubt. Don't forget to put my hands together. I ask you grant me love and protect me forever.
I promise I was there for you. I just want you to know. Need you, baby. I promise I was there for you. I just want you to know. Need you, baby.
Hello, Donald. My name is Adam, and you're watching
This evening's presentation of Chicago Tonight is sponsored in part by a grant from the William F. O'Connor Foundation in memory of Billy O'Connor.
Good evening and welcome to the top tonight on Coast on this Thursday, August 11th.
Washington and Nancy come together and get things done.
President Obama hits the road slamming Congress just as the final three members of the Deficit Reduction Super Committee are named. Eddie Aruz of this panel will look at the 12 committee members and the prospects for their coming to a consensus.
The story about it and tell the way where the words and the hurricane were to be killed.
It's the story of a group of people whose job it is to stop the violence on Chicago's streets. The Interrupters, the subjects of a new film by Steve James and Alex Kopowitz, and they're here to tell their story. Chicago City Council was made up of 50 aldermen, each representing one Chicago ward. One of our viewers wants to know when and why Chicago's wards were established. Jeffrey Bear has the answer in this week's edition of Ask Jeffrey. A destination for inspiration gets a renovation. We'll put on the hard hat for a view of chaos among the creation of the historic arts colony known as Crochet. And we ask if you think higher property taxes are warranted for Chicago public schools. You told us. We'll add some of your thoughts in tonight's view of Ale. All that and more next on Chicago Tonight. Thanks for joining us. Here's what's happening in Chicago tonight. More volatility in the market today as the Dow surged to a 423-point gain. This is the fourth consecutive day of erratic trading on Wall Street. Today's gains may have been caused by rebounding European markets and some encouraging reports about U.S. jobs. Two officials in South Suburban Crestwood have been indicted on federal criminal charges. Crestwood Police Chief Teresa Neubauer and former water operator Frank Scaccia are accused of lying about the use of a contaminated well, that is, to supplement the village water supply. According to the indictments, the two failed to fix leaking water pipes which forced them to use contaminated well water to meet village demands. A 2010 study of Presswood indicated that cancer levels in the village were, quote, significantly elevated, but did not point to the contaminated water supply as the cause. The well was shut off for good in 2007. The Taste is returning to Chicago this weekend. The Taste of Tall Ships, that is. The Tall Ships exhibition is back at Navy Pier. It is once again offering the opportunity to cruise the lake on these boats. Some will stay docked on the pier, but will still welcome visitors to come aboard and look around the historic vessels. The Taste of Tall Ships runs through Sunday. Well, despite a ninth-inning scare, the Cubs come up with their 8th win in 10 games. Back-to-back seventh-inning home runs off the bats of Robert Ramirez and Carlos Pena gave the Cubs a 3-run cushion over the Nationals this afternoon at Wrigley. Washington loaded the bases in the ninth, but Carlos Marmol was able to hold off the Nats to earn his 26th save. Despite the recent hot streak, the Cubs remained 16.5 games behind first base Milwaukee. As for the weather tomorrow, another beauty, mostly sunny skies and a high of 82. And now to Eddie Ruza and what to expect from the so-called congressional super committee. Eddie.
Phil, the last of the 12 hand-picked lawmakers for that committee were named today. They now have until November 23rd to find about $1.5 trillion in cuts to the federal deficit over 10 years. If they cannot reach a consensus, then some very big cuts in the defense budget and entitlement programs will automatically kick in. The committee is the offspring of the controversial debt ceiling deal, but whether this smaller super Congress will be able to avoid the super partisanship of the big Congress remains to be seen. It is, after all, made up of an even number of Republicans and Democrats from both chambers chosen by the party leaders. And the super committee members are Republican Senators John Kyle of Arizona, Rob Portman of Ohio, and Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania. They were appointed by Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Democratic Senators Max Baucus of Montana, John Kerry of Massachusetts, and Pat Murray of Washington. They were appointed by Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. Republican Representatives Dave Camp of Michigan, Jeff Hensarling of Texas, and Fred Upton of Michigan. They were appointed by House Speaker John Boehner. And Democratic Representatives Xavier Becerra of California, James Clyburn of South Carolina, and Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, who were appointed by House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi. And with us tonight to share their thoughts and expectations on this super committee are John McCormick, Deputy Editorial Page Editor of the Chicago Tribune. He's been writing about the debt crisis and the economy. Laurel Hartridge is Assistant Professor of Political Science at Northwestern University. She is currently researching bipartisanship in a polarized Congress. And John O'Hara of the Illinois Policy Institute. He is the author of A New American Tea Party, a book chronicling the history and principles of the Tea Party movement. Welcome to all three of you. And Laurel Hartridge, since you've been researching this, and I'm sure keeping a very close eye on the debt ceiling debate and the controversy surrounding that, what are your hopes for this particular committee?
I think one of the first things that is a hopeful sign with this committee is that it kind of takes away some of the usual partisan advantages in Congress and some of the sorts of incentives that produce a lot of the partisan conflict. So having a majority party versus minority party, where the majority party gets to pick what issues come up, which proposals come up, and they often pick those in ways that highlight disagreements between the parties rather than seeking out compromise. Again, with this, we have an even number of Democrats and Republicans. We also have straight majority votes, so we take away kind of the procedural aspect of the Senate filibuster.
But
So,
isn't that in itself, the fact that we have an even split here, that they were chosen by the party leaders, handpicked, don't you see that as very partisan and lead to, again, a very partisan vote?
in some